I recently found myself with a lot of time after a wisdom tooth extraction. Besides being able not to go to work or school for a week, the break was really useful in rejuvenating my desire to play video games. So I booted up The Last of Us Part 1 and played through all of it in a couple days. Then I played through a lot of the Ghost of Tsushima. Then I played a lot of The Last of Us Part 2. It was probably a good thing that I had to go back to school or work so soon. I never would have left my room. However, playing through all of these games made me really appreciate gaming in general. I'd always loved video games that were fun and somewhat brainless, but the more I grow up and begin to research and see how things are made, the more video games stand out to me as a medium. They're unlike any other, different from books and movies and TV, and realizing this only made me want to play them more. And then, lucky me, a certain game came out that was like magic for me. A game so immersive and special and hectic and awesome that I have to talk about why video games are the best medium of entertainment, in my opinion. The best games immerse you entirely in the world and the characters, with usage of striking tones, great level design writing, and taking advantage of the fact that it's a video game. The amount of time that you have with the characters and places help a lot too. And these are two topics that I really want to focus on in this video, using the examples of The Last of Us Part 1 and the Dead Space remake. I played the first Last of Us game, it was the remastered version back in 2020 when everything went to shit. A lot like it does in the actual game. I finished the game and thought it was okay. I never really understood why people were so adamant on saying it was the best game ever made. I think I gave it like a 7 out of 10 or something. But over winter break 2022, I played through it on the PS5 in the remake version of the game. And yeah, it's a masterpiece. And to no one's surprise, yeah, I cried. However, I did not cry here.
Sarah?
Nor did I cry here.
You're not my daughter.
I cried here, in this simple little piece of gameplay where you run away from the fireflies at the end of the game. For me, the one thing that brings the sequence all together, brings the game full circle, and makes me bawl my eyes out, is Ellie. Earlier in the game, right before Joel's daughter bites it, you have to carry her for a large portion of Outbreak Day. In a TV show or movie, you're watching the characters. You're watching Joel try to save Sarah. But what is unique about a video game is that you are put into Joel's shoes. This is my daughter. I have to save her. You have to run away from the evil behind you to save your daughter, which is what makes the punch of her death so impactful. You played as her, then as her dad trying to save her, and now she's gone. With Ellie, you have gotten to know her through the entire game. You have so much time with characters due to it being a game. You see every quirk, every moment, every mundane interaction Joel and Ellie have together on their adventure. You have been building a relationship with Ellie as Joel has. And when they reach the Firefly camp and the game is almost over, you don't want it to be. As Joel doesn't want it to be.
We don't have to do this. You know that, right?
What's the other option?
Go back to Tommy's. Just be done with this whole damn thing.
You are then, after more struggle, pulled into a room and surprisingly told that the girl you've been bonding with, laughing with, and fighting for is going to die. They are going to perform a surgery that will save the world, but she has to die. Now, while it may be Joel's decision to shoot the guard and begin the action sequence to save Ellie, we are equally as invested in saving her as Joel is, because we have experienced everything he has. So if you're doing what the game is telling you, we kill the guards, we make our way into the surgery room, we break in, and there's Ellie on the bed. We have to save her. The surgeon is standing in our way, so we kill him, we pick up Ellie, and we start to run away. And suddenly, you, the player, are exactly where you were in the beginning of the game. You have to save this girl while the evil behind you gets closer and closer. This is why I cried. The music was blaring and me and Joel were saving Ellie. He was finally able to love again, to care again, and we saw every second of it. You just don't get something like that in TVs or movies. And yes, it can be adapted, and while I love movies and TV so much, it can never be replicated. Nothing will ever give you the amount of time or immersion or experience you get from a video game. Well, on the subject of immersion, the game that made me want to write this is Dead Space. The Dead Space remake was released a couple weeks ago as I'm writing this, to amazing reviews from old fans, critics, and new fans, me. I bought it and I played for an hour, and even in that little time, it showed me that this game was horrifying. Long corridors, vents exploding out of walls, noises from the ship that the game takes place in constantly blaring. Hearing crawling through the ceiling, it all draws you in to make you not only feel like Isaac, the protagonist of the game, is walking through these halls, but you are right with him. The Last of Us has horror elements, but it's more of a storytelling action game. Dead Space is survival horror at its peak. There are necromorphs everywhere. They are somewhat intelligent, and they always know where you are. No matter what you're doing, no matter where you are, the only thing they want to do is to kill you and continue their spread of their disease. No matter what room, no matter if you're ready or not, you will constantly be confronted with the threat of death. Rooms are filled to the brim with vents that can break through every time. Hallways are dark, vents cover the ceiling too. You open doors and there can be a bunch right there in front of you. Constantly you hear the ship moving and tossing and turning. You're hearing pus throb through the walls. You're hearing the sound of flesh smushing below your feet. And what you don't want to hear, necromorphs screaming as they run to you faster than any clicker from The Last of Us ever could. They look uncanny, they're strong, and they want to kill you. In any TV show or movie, when the protagonist is faced with a problem, there's always tension, of course. Goodfellas, Uncut Gems, good time. But nothing quite like this. You're always aware that something awful can happen to the characters you've grown attached to when you watch something, but this is different. Because in video games, and especially video games that take pride in their fact that they're video games, you are the main target. In story relation, they may be chasing Joel, they may be chasing Ellie, they may be chasing Isaac, but while you have the controller in your hands, they are always after you. That's why in a TV show or a movie, whenever a character directly looks at the camera, directly to the audience, or outright chases the camera, it's unnerving. You are no longer an audience member. You are a point of interaction. You are directly facing a threat, and they acknowledge that you can see them. Walking through sludgy, pus-filled hallways in silence, only for it to be broken by a tentacle snatching you off the ground. Being ran at by a monster twice your size, or ejecting a leviathan out of the ship. The point of the game is to make you feel like Isaac. Make you feel stranded on the ship, to the point where your goal is the exact same as everyone else's on it. I have to get the fuck out of here. It's one of the smallest but strongest incentives I've ever seen, which once again you will never find anywhere else in any other type of media. Now, I've played a lot of video games, so there are many more fantastic examples of timing, God of War, Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and many more fantastic examples of immersion. The Walking Dead Telltale series, the Arkham series, Spider-Man, Uncharted. These two, however, were the most striking and inspiring for me. Video games give us an outlet to be terrified, to feel love like we've never felt before, to grow with characters we never thought we could see grow, to make connections we never thought we could experience, to experience things we never thought we could. That's why they're perfect. And that's why, to me, they are the most masterful medium of our time. Because video games are magic. Except Hogwarts Legacy, don't buy that shit.